And we're here once again, only on Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on the Last Call YouTube channel. And now joining here, we usually have a lot of mini fighters. We've had series. We have even had some episodes. Now we're going to be. He's one of the best kept secrets in pro wrestling. A man who, hopefully, so one of these days soon, he signed into a contract from the former Ring of Honor champion, the man who we can move as quickly as you can with that size. I give you it's the mammoth what's going on with I guess doing in terms of like scheduling things with the independent scene and having all these options.
Man, well, I mean, like I said, man, it's one of the good and sometimes the bad things about wrestling is you get to be in control of everything. The cool thing about where I'm at now, outside of Ring of Honor, is I have complete creative control. So I get to, tell the stories I want to tell. I get to have the matches I want to have, and then really let my work kind of go from there. So it's been fun. It's one of those where I just stay busy because a successful man's a busy man.
So let's talk about the big question. How tough is it, finding independent promotions that are reputable? Because it seems like there's always promotion here and there. And you hear stories sometimes of, well, this promotion is not paying. This promotion, their checks are bouncing. This promotion, they're canceling, announcing events, canceling events. Like, how do you go about like wrestling for an independent promotion, figuring out, okay, are they worth my time, or is this something that's they're going to just jerk me around?
A lot of times is at least when it comes to wrestling, the talent talks. So like depending on who's in your circle, depending on whose word that you really look up to. For me, like, I'm an adult, man, so I can come up with my own opinions because a lot of times, when people will say something about another person, it's like all you hear is one side. So a lot of factors on that, especially when it's talking business. Like this is my money, so I got to make the right moves for me. Um, so but if you are if you're a piece of shit, well, guess what? We all know that you're a piece of shit, and nobody's going to want to come work for you. But at the same time, though, I also do my own research. I look at the deep dives. Who was on your show? Who's currently on your show? What does your show look like? I want to try to get as introduced to the product if I've never seen it before. So like, what does your flyers look like? Are your flyers like production quality? How's the social media presence? Social media drops quite a bit in wrestling, so you look at that as well. It's there's pitfalls, and there's been a lot of success stories. There's some people who've proven me right, and there's been some people who've proven me wrong. So it's kind of hit or miss, man. It's really, really hit or miss.
So what made a former firefighter, become a wrestler? Because you have a steady job, you have benefits, you have a pension. Pro wrestling, unless you're in the big time, you're not getting paid big money. So what made you fall in love with pro wrestling? What made you do I call it a sport, which as much people say, oh, pro wrestling's fake, it's staged, it still hurts. I mean, people still get injured. So what the hell made you do it? What made you fall in love with this?
Man, I honestly, man, I kind of fell into it. Like I said, I grew up in Atlanta, so there's a lot of WCW, you know, and I honestly, I knew what WCW was well before I knew what the WWE was. Just because, it's, geographically, that's where I was. So I love WCW. I'll always be a WCW kid to this day. But I only caught it, but like so often as a kid. But every time I caught it, man, I was engrossed with it. One year I saw my father in New York, and he's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to go see wrestling live." And it was the first time I saw the WWE, and I was just like, "This is cool. There's more than one." Um, and then after that, man, it just kind of took off. I had my dips and my peaks here and there, but I'm always a fan of pro wrestling. I'll always be a fan. The fact I get to do this still just blows my mind.
So take us to a training because everybody thinks it's easy. I mean, you see all these now athletes coming up going, "Oh, I want to do pro wrestling," right? When they don't realize like it's a pitch to do because you're constantly moving. The average match now is anywhere between 15, 10 minutes long, maybe sometimes 20 minutes long. You're constantly moving. I mean, for you, like, how long did it take just to be able to do a match without throwing up and go, okay, I need oxygen because you're always moving about your every part of your body. It's not like you're just, football where it's 30 seconds first, take a break. It's hard work.
Right, right. If anything, more importantly, before you even get into like the physical, it's just just be humble. Just be humble. Whatever your preconceived notions are about wrestling, just be humble. Because wrestling will humble you real fast, real fast. And I've seen it happen, and it's just you're just like, oof, bro, that sucks. But training wise, it's for me now, it's more about the recovery than anything else. I built a life off of building and building and building and break it down, build it again, break it down, build again physically. Now it's all about the recovery. It's beautiful. Because more than every time I go, weight trainer, every time I go to an open ring and roll around, I'm seeing a chiropractor, I'm seeing a massage therapist, I'm seeing a nutritionist, trying to maintain, what I have. So training is continuous. You don't have to be in a gym, you don't have to be in a ring, but please believe within 10, 15 feet of me, there is what I call a wrestling notebook. And where I have these random ass ideas and I put them in a notebook. And I have like 7 of them floating around the house at all times because trying to keep up one all the time just kills me. So I'm just like, no, I'll just leave them everywhere. And so I pick up this random book and I'm like, oh, I remember this. And I remember all these little spots. Man, I'm always learning. I'm always watching. Like, never stop being a student. And for the love of God, have fun. Wrestling's fun. It's theater, man. It's fun. Like, in the minute you stop having fun and the minute you start taking this that seriously, stop, check yourself, and let's try it again. Wrestling at its core is fun. And sometimes I feel like that gets missed.
All right. You trained with Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer Robert Gibson, Rock and Roll Express. So
Yep.
I heard there's, because I talked to who has experience in pro wrestling, not just like 1 or 2 years, but like a decade. They say it's more than just taking bumps, doing dives, all that stuff. So you worked with him. Like, how did he help you become a complete pro wrestler where you can put together a match, you can get the crowd involved, where you can literally, work it so that it's not just a bunch of people going, this is sometimes they're just, doing second
Right.
rub, kicking out of one. Like, what did he teach you about being a pro wrestler?
Well, so to tell that story, man, actually, I started with Johnny Swinger. Like, he was my initial trainer. Johnny Swinger was doing like these little drop-in rates at an open gym, and I just kind of took him up on it. As I don't want to say as a goof, but I was just like, it's $20. I'm gonna blow $20 doing something else dumb. So I was like, yeah, why not? I just wanted to see if it could be all cracked up to be. And then 6 months later, I'm still training with him. But it got to a point to, even with the group that I was training with, even Johnny would pull me aside and was like, hey man, like, if you want to take this seriously and give this a go, I got, there's somebody you need to meet. And so him and some other people got me in touch with Robert Gibson. And so while Johnny Swinger taught me the basics and like the building blocks of really what I needed to know, Robert was one who he's the mortar and all that. Like, he's the one that made everything stick. And he was filling in the cracks and filling the gaps that, like, there's no way you'd know unless you've been there. And then when Robert saw I was trying to take this, I'm serious about it, he was like, all right, cool. I can teach you how to wrestle, but I'm also teach you how to be on TV. And I'm like, awesome, let's go. And for as long as I stayed in Georgia, I was going to Johnny's place once, twice a week. I do his shows once every 2 months on top of traveling. I do a show in Atlanta on Friday, Alabama Saturday, Mississippi, and then Tennessee on Sunday, and then come right back home for years, just trying to prove that I was, that was something that I can do this.
it's well, it's just weird in pro wrestling because there's all these like unwritten rules and backstage etiquette. Nobody, unless somebody you know of a friend who's done it, nobody tells you what it is. So for you, how tough was it in the beginning, like learning, like okay, how to behave, how to act, and do I whose hands do I to shake? Do I shake everybody's hands? Or, how do I go about putting together a match?
Man, I'll honestly, man,
Yeah.
I was just be an adult. Be an adult. That's it. All you have to do is be an adult. Like I said, I fought fires. Like you said, I fought fires before all this, man. I was a professional at 21 years old, running into burning buildings well before I stepped into a wrestling ring. I've seen stuff on the fireside that make people just blush. I'm like, yeah, man, like, what is it that you guys are going to do to me that, it's going to be that bad? Nothing. But I'm still an adult. So I come in, I say hello to everybody, shake everyone's hand. Unless someone's speaking to me, I'm not trying to butt in everybody's conversation. I meet who I'm supposed to meet. This is a job. This is a business. This is professional wrestling. The first part of that, those first part of the job description is the job description. Professional in everything that we do. And I come from like that collegiate background, like football, baseball, just discipline, train all the time, regimen. That when I'm out in public, especially something like this, it's nothing. Like there's nothing, any unwritten rule that most people may think, it's probably not that big of a deal because it's like just be an adult, be cool, be about your business, do good business by yourself and by everyone else. And guess what? Things go perfectly fine. I don't subscribe to that. Oh, he didn't shake my hand. We got heat nonsense. I'm too old for that.
Ring of Honor. You're part of Shane Taylor Promotions. You guys, were on fire. What was that like for you having other people who understood, the business, understood like how to market themselves, how to, build a brand, building a gimmick, using your social media because you're personal. There's a lot of people in pro wrestling who don't understand it, don't have Twitter pages. And for you, how does it be Shane who seemed to your keys to people how to become successful and how much work it takes?
Yeah, man, Ring of Honor was always the goal. Like that was always the goal. Even before how everything went down, it was always the goal. And I was going to do it, come hook or crook. It was happening. I was going to either come to the front door, or I'm slide to the back. But one way or another, like I'm going to be in that wrestling ring. And it was more to myself than anything else. Being there though was amazing. Because there's everyone who I always like looked up to and admired in a wrestling ring, I was standing shoulder to shoulder with, and we were like talking not so much as, teacher and student, but like equals, partners. Like that meant a lot. Like that year, I'll never forget it. Like it was just unreal how all of that happened. And then, just what it's been turned into. Like being able to sit there and talk to the Briscoes, talk to Roosh, Dragon Lee, Taven, Bennett, like Jay Lethal Gresham, all those guys, and just talk, break bread, talk about the business, talk about this, talk about that. It felt good. it damn near feels like validated in a sense, especially when you come to a place where most people didn't give you the time of day for it. So it felt pretty good, man. I'm glad I took that shot.
Thinking back to the last card of Ring of Honor, I mean, because it's funny. Online goes, people, people, Ring of Pimp. How much did it bother you when you saw that? It's like, yeah, I'm out of a job. These are people, friends of mine, who are even non wrestlers, the TV people, the camera, the makeup, production, like they're a job. I mean, how disheartening was it, when Ring of Honor here, you're looking, going, oh crap, this is it. It's actually Ring of Honor is no more.
Yeah, we didn't want to leave. Nobody wanted to leave. At least I didn't want to leave. You just got to pull me out of there, man. I came too far just to walk. Like, all right, we'll see you later. Like, no, because for me, I didn't know what was coming next. I had no clue what was coming next. So it was, for me, it was, if this was going to be it, and this was about going to be as far as I possibly make it. I'm going to stretch this out like government cheese. I'm going to make this thing last for a while. So the fact that I got to start the show with Con and Moses, and I came through the dojo with those guys too. So that meant a lot for a lot of that unsung class, that last class of the ROH dojo that gets no love, where they should deserve all the love in the world, is fucking criminal. But still, like, it was one of the few times in a wrestling ring where I was actually had to take a minute and step out of it and just enjoy it. Like, we all it was twice. It was before the match and after the match. And then someone has a picture of me, Con, and Moses standing on the apron, just kind of like, all right, all right. If this is going to be it, man, this is it's going to have to stand on its own. It was a moment. Like, instead of three wrestlers, man, you saw just three men who just kind of like put it out there.
One of the things that I got to touch on, because I find impressive, at least. You came out a while back. You came out as bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
How tough was that? When you think about that, go, okay, I want to come out, but I don't want to be treated like a joke. I don't want this to become, part of, don't want this to be turned into a gimmick. I don't want to deal with, just yes. What made you decide to finally come out? And how tough was it when you're still on social media? So there's probably crap you get DM tweeted that we don't see, and you can't lash out because it's a waste of it. I mean, why? Why did you decide, and how much thought did you give into it?
It took a little bit. I really wasn't sure, because I was still I was arguing with myself about, like, whose business is it? Why does anybody care? And then really on top of that, like, okay, will this affect my career? Will this affect the way my friends look at me? Will this affect the way my family looks at me? And at the time, I was with my partner, and we were just like, yo, that's not your problem. It's not your problem. This isn't about them. It's about you. And if this is what you want to do, then, like, do it, but do it because you want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine too, but don't do it because that's what you wanted to do. I did the next day. Yeah. Felt great. Felt great. No one really, and it's silly to think about it now, but because, like I said, I told people before, I'm like, nobody's really said anything bad about me. There's nothing to really say anything bad about me, but if they do, they don't say it to my face, and they definitely don't say it to my friends. So, once again, that speaks more about them than it does me.
If you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we have this Shay Edwards here on the show. We're talking all things, of course, Ring of Honor. We're talking getting into it. We're talking even things he's coming out. So one of the things that it's become a problem. It's happened in WWE. It's happened in AEW. It's happened even in the independent scene, and you've seen it here. And that's fans getting sometimes involved, whether they get a little bit too much liquid courage and jump the ring or attack the wrestlers, or even we had, I believe it was Ron getting headbutted by a fan. And how do you deal with that? I mean, how do you guys not worry, when you're walking out and somebody, and as I said, in the independent scene, it's not like there's tons of security, or it's not like there's these barricades here. I mean, some of these ones that I've seen, it's like a high school gymnasium. How do you not worry, but all of a sudden some fan's going to get this, people on dragging aside. We're going to hit this guy. We're going to attack him. We're going to jump when he's not there. And it's like, okay, this is no longer fantasy pro wrestling. This is reality. I'm now getting attacked for real.
Well, when you pay for your ticket, you are entering an agreement to keep your ass on the other side of that barricade. But if for whatever reason you feel as if you want to be a part of the show, I will gladly and more than willing to help you accompany that. And you will be then become a part of the show. I preface it that by saying you're not going to like your part in the show. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're not going to like your part, but you were going to play the hell out of that part. Other than that, man, I'm like, look, it's theater. It's just we can get all up in your intimate space. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just we're gonna get personal. It's wrestling is also based in reality to an extent. You know, if you push me, all right, man, cool. Don't be surprised if I push you back. If you put your hand out there and something dumb and just whatever, like yeah, I'm gonna make you look foolish. But like what you giveth is what you get back. So just kind of take that in mind. I've been lucky. Nobody's really wanted to test the waters, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, you'll find that quick, man. This gimmick's for real.
I've seen you in action, like, holy crap, this is a big ass dude. Like I said, it's a big. It's Charles all of a sudden, yeah, the next thing you know, it's like, stop, what the hell is happening here? That's the first time of the day. What's a good worker? We keep hearing that from wrestlers. Like, oh, this guy's a good worker. This guy's a good worker. I know each wrestler has a definition, depending on what kind of style. But for you, like, what is a good worker? And do you get frustrated sometimes on the matches where it's like, okay, this guy just has no idea what he's doing, where he's just diving all over the place, or he's taking risks and really get hurt because he's just out of control of it.
Yeah. When people say what's a good worker, man, I tell you what, man, it's the middle of your lineup, man. If you're making a baseball team, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to stack the deck with 9 Ken Griffey Juniors. I mean, if you could, you would, but it's not going to work out the way you think it is, right? A good worker is that baseball player who hits like for 250, 260, good amount of home runs, some RBIs, but he's a hit machine and he's pretty good in the field. Is this guy going to be a superstar? Probably not. But can I count on him day after day? You're damn right. He's solid. Like, to me, that's a good worker. Solid. Anything you can ask for that person, like, they'll give it to you. Whatever you need. A good worker is cool under pressure. Like the small stuff doesn't phase them. They just keep it moving. And if things get out of control, they go home. Like, to me, that's a good worker. Like, just put someone over quick. Brian Johnson, the Mecca, great fucking worker. That dude he needs to be fucking everywhere. I love Brian Johnson. Like, trust me. Watch that dude. Watch him go. It's great. He does an Iverson step over that's out of this world. I'm telling you, you'll love it. And what was the second part of that question, man? I'm sorry.
The second part is, as I said, do you ever get frustrated where we've seen a lot of there's always now these new guys who decide to do a dive. Go over the top rope to do a flip here, and spinning stuff. And I don't get the say, that's stupid. And then people because hey, it's artistic, spinning looks fantastic. When he's doing other guys not as much. Like, how do you, Bible, you see all those guys, they're doing all these terrorist stuff, and it's like, okay, slow down. You have no idea what you're doing. I'm going to get hurt because you're just jumping, flying all over the place. And when you're flying, you can't stop. Which, separating them.
Yeah. Like I said, man, if a lot of times this gets taken care of in the back. Usually, I'm in a place where I can, like, hey, I'm going to always like, why are you doing this? Why are you going to do this? Do you want to put this here? Blah, blah, blah. It's a dance, man. It's a dance before the dance. So a lot of times for stuff like that, if somebody's going to do something we didn't talk about in the back and just go nilly willy, first thing to do is I'm protecting myself. And sometimes the only way to protect myself is to protect you, because you're gonna do something dumb. And then we're getting the fuck out of there. At that point, we're at that point, we're getting out of there. And we'll take it to the back. And somebody's got an issue with it. I'm like, I'll tell you exactly what happened, and then we'll talk. We're kind of go from there. But once again, though, professional wrestling, professional. As long as the crowd doesn't know that something's going wrong, cool, man. That works for me.
But it's funny. Being a heel nowadays, I think is tougher. And I remember speaking with Rohit Raj on Game Crib, because it's not like the old days, in Austin. You can curse, you can swear, you can do all this, everything now. Even when you're on just cable TV, you have to watch what you say. So you and Shane, you guys are great heels. Did you ever get envious where it's like you want to do all this, you want to say this, drop the F bomb, call this person a mother umper, or even blah blah blah, and you really can't say this word or that word or that word because you'll get fined, and Ring of Honor will get fined, and then there'll be a lot of money going, oh crap. So me dropping the asshole means I got to pay $5,000. It's not there.
Yeah, well, I say it again, professionals. When you are dealing with professionals, guess what? It's not an issue. Now, yes, somebody may get caught up in heat of the moment, but that's those are exceptions to the rule. Trust me, like the Briscoes drop an F-bomb. Trust me, no one's found the Briscoes. They're gonna be just fine. But it's just you're dealing with professionals. We know how to speak in front of a camera. We know how to speak in front of a crowd. We know how to speak. We know how to speak, what to speak, and still get our point across because we're professionals. We've done this before. We're paid to do this. So for me, it's never been an issue. If some people decide to, that's what they want to do, then so be it. That's once again, that's on them. That's not on me. But if people come to me with hey, can you critique this and everything, is like you just carpet bomb the F word through the whole thing. I'm like, hey man, like, what is this? So here's the thing, I do miss the art of the promo. Like, man, I miss the art of the promo. It's great when it's done right. Or something, I just try something new and it gets over. Man, it's just nothing love it. There's nothing like it. I wish, people would get back into it. But everyone's kind of afraid to, one, like you said, one, say the wrong thing, or two, they're afraid to look silly. And I'm like, you're afraid to look silly, man. Do you know what we do? Like, we're past silly. We're well past silly. Just go for it. You'd be surprised what happens. And people are afraid to fail. And so when you get people who are afraid to look silly, who are afraid to fail, and afraid of saying the wrong things, guess what happens? It just kind of, the promo goes away. And that kind of sucks. I miss it.
How often do you hear from first? Here's the question: how tough is it for your friends to understand what you do and what it entails? Because everybody says, "Oh, let's have drinks, let's have dinner, put your phone down." It's like, I'm tweeting, I'm texting because I'm trying to get my show lined up. And I'm talking to my wardrobe people so I can get my outfit sent to me on time. Hey, I'm booking tickets here. No, I can't hang out this weekend. I'm going to Georgia. No, I can't, take a month off in Japan, going to Mexico, Canada. Like, how tough is it for your friends to understand this is a 24/7 business? Yeah,
Oh
you're
man,
not in WWE, you're Impact, but you are your own business, and ergo, you're the manager, the travel
yeah,
agent, the webmaster,
yes. You have a 100% stake and 100% equity. You get out of it what you put in it. My friends, they understand. Well, let me rephrase that. While my friends may not always understand it, man, they support the hell out of me. My wife supports the hell out of me. My family supports the hell out of me. Even if they don't understand it, they still support me because one, they see it makes me extremely happy to do this. And on top of that, I'm reaching a level of success that I wasn't even prepared for. Don't get me wrong, I was ready for it, but I just, you're never prepared for it when it finally gets here. So, and now all that stuff's starting to bear fruit. So my family, my friends, man, they are my they're my day ones, man. So even if they don't understand it, they're still like, hey man, I bought your shirt, or hey man, I saw that you're going here, go here. That's pretty cool, and sometimes they'll watch it and it's cool. If they call me wrestling questions, I answer them, but a lot of times, man, they just want to hang out.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're about to have on the show. I give you one of the, as I said, one of the best games. Hopefully, somebody, AEW, women sign this guy. It's O'Shea Edwards. O'Shea, so where the page, the Instagram, the website, the TV store, where can fans hit you up, or where can fans buy your merch?
Yeah, man. So for my merch, I'm on whatamaneuver.net. Just search bar, you put in O'Shea Edwards. For Instagram, Big Bad Kaiju. That's Kaiju. Appeared after every word. And then on Twitter, it's at Big Bad Kaiju, just one big word. You can find me on Facebook. You can try to friend me on Facebook. I might add you, I might not. I don't know. But usually Twitter and Instagram are kind of the best ways to stay in touch with me or get in touch with me for anything like that at all.
O'Shea Edwards, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always an honor, pleasure having on the show. We come here only on it is Last Call. Last Call, the alcohol only on the Last Call YouTube channel.